We're live, and thank God I made this live stream earlier because I forgot what the episode number was, which is 43. Now I know because I made it before. So
Getting close to my age up in here. I like it.
we passed mine.
Couple episodes again. We're almost to the 1 year mark.
Yes, we are getting there. We are close.
Celebrate.
We get a party. I mean, are you coming down? You coming to Florida?
Hell yeah. By that time, it's going to be freezing as shit up here. So definitely.
When did we start that? That was that's November-ish, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
So we're at 43. We need 9 more weeks. So that would be what? Mid-November.
Watch, it's going to be when I'm in Louisiana.
Figures.
Or we.
Look, my daughter and her friend said they want to be guests on our podcast. They want to have a kids episode. They want you to bring the girls on, and then they want to talk to them. That's what she told me.
Living with a real estate team leader.
Yeah.
From the lens of a child. Oh God.
Our jerk dads. They can buy me all the stuff that we want.
Could you imagine? I mean, I couldn't imagine watching my parents on a podcast on my Facebook, so yeah, it would definitely be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm not shy on embarrassing her, so yeah. I'll take a picture and I'll post it. She gets mad.
Mine doesn't really get embarrassed yet, but that's coming. That is coming.
Nice.
Coming.
Yeah, you're too young yet.
So
what are we talking about today? What do we got for the peeps?
Recommitting, just getting back on the horse, I think it's a really good topic, especially for us on the show, because we haven't really, we've talked about it here and there, but I think to make it the feature of the show is a big deal because whether it's our team, whether it's what we say on this podcast, whether it's people I interact with, I'm very intense about what our expectations or what the standards are. And, there has to be grace though. Like I have 100% fallen off the wagon many times. And I think I'm so intense about the expectations because I don't want to let myself have that space to have, not stay committed, so, but that doesn't mean that I don't, right? And I've had to recommit many, many times. Like I've told everybody, I think my best skill set is I'm just a freaking turtle. Like I just turtle on forward, but there's a lot of times that turtle veers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess to start off, like, what's the hardest part about recommitting for you, when you fall off of your commitments and you got to get back on the horse?
Well, recommitting and, one of the things as, being a team leader and kind of, everybody's looking to you to set the example, right? So, but we're human, right? I mean, nobody's perfect, but, one thing that I always say is I'll never tell you to do something that I'm not willing to do. So anytime I'm telling them, hey, you got to make your calls or do an X or do that, then I'll show them that, hey, look, I've been doing the same thing that you're doing. I'm just doing it a different way, right? Or, hey, look, here's an example of, something that I taught you that I implemented, right? But I think what happens is over time, I don't know if it's a boredom, a shiny object syndrome, or what, you start focusing on, maybe not dollar producing activities, and you start to veer off course, right? And then you have to recommit to get back down to the basics, right? Know what works. I struggle big with, giving it enough time, right? Is it recommitting or is it a deviation to, hey, this wasn't working. Maybe I should try something new. Trying to balance that out.
100%. I mean, giving it enough time it's probably, I'd fair to say in my experience, just coaching people in general has nothing to do with even just real estate. It's like 95% of the problem. Because, I think we worry especially in real estate where it's 1099 and you commission only, will I get paid for what I'm doing? What I'm doing right now, will I get paid for? And you don't know, like, will this work? And you have to have a lot of blind faith and just kind of put your head down and commit. I mean, the best way to counter that, like, to be tactical on this, if that's something you're struggling with, get the information from somebody who's done exactly what you want to do. Like, if it's working out, like, find somebody who literally got in shape or did the same lost the same amount of weight or did the same thing you want to do, and just get the information from them. Like, find someone proven, because there's so many ads clogging up our Facebook feeds or our TVs or whatever that are just full of shit, from people who haven't walked in the shoes that you were trying to walk in. So I think, one way to counter the blind faith feeling is just go get it from somebody who's done exactly what you want to do, because then you're not questioning the information. So don't, set yourself up to roll downhill where you're not questioning the information first. And that's something I had to do. I mean, I've had different people I've followed or YouTubed or coached with, and they didn't do exactly what I was setting out to do. The environment I'm in and reside, there's many people in here who have done exactly what I want to do. I'm getting coached by Sanit. Sanit has sold 1,000 homes multiple years in Sacramento, so he's done exactly what I'm going to do. So I can't question the information.
Yeah,
the information's real. It freaking worked.
So no, that's a good point, right? So find somebody that's proven that it's done it and it's not theory, right? That's in the weeds, that's doing what you want to do, and take your ego back, right? Humble yourself, know that you don't know, right? And then trust the process, right? But there's got to be a little bit, I like to call it like a little, you'll feel a little bit of butterflies in the stomach, or, a little bit of uneasiness. Is this going to do it? I'm putting in all this time and effort. And it's like, I like to call it like the messy middle, right? And I think we're all still going through that. Like, your journey with Reside, my journey with Matt, putting these systems and processes and, building these systems out, right? And it's like, there's always a question in the back of your mind: is this going to work, right? You see that they did it, and it's like, okay, well, what about, will that work for me? And it's like, okay, you got to have blind faith and just say, hey, look, I'm going to give it, and you have to give it, I would say, nothing happens in 30 days, right? You have to give it an extended amount of time for proven. So often, and I was just listening to a podcast with Sanit from the Reside platform, so we'll plug them, that, everybody tries to give things 30 days, it doesn't work, and then all of a sudden, they're on to the next thing instead of giving it 6 months. When you tell somebody, hey, you got to give this at least 6 months, they're like, oh, 6 months, it's gonna take that long, I need it now. So often we live in that society where it's like instant gratification. I want results right now, give them to me, show me what I need to do so I can do this today, and then that's going to happen. It doesn't work that way. With any business that you have or built up, it takes time. You're going to have that uncertainty of not doing it. But good, you look like you're gonna.
Yeah, chomping at the bit with a couple of things you said, because, well, two things that it made me think of was, I mean, yeah, 30 days is almost never going to cut it. The worst thing I think that people have heard like 100 times is it takes, what is it, 21 days to build a habit, or X amount of days to build a habit. It's all bullshit. It depends on the habit. It depends on the person. You know what I mean? So, like, that's the worst thing that people have heard. But so, like, 30 days will almost never cut it in anything I've experienced worthwhile. 6 months is like the kind, honestly, like, nobody wants to hear this. Like, sure, if we're sitting on a call and we're trying to sell somebody like how to lose weight or how to get in shape or how to be successful in real estate, and we tell them 6 months, they're like, this, like that's part of the problem. But we're not on that call. We're here to give you the truth. And not that we would not tell somebody, that's not the sexy part when you say, hey, this is going to take a long time. So anyway, 6 months is actually still like a cautionary. Like, that's not even really long enough, in my opinion, at least in real estate success. It's still like a 1 year commit. Don't pick your head up at all for 1 year. Go the whole way with what you're trying to do and make, whether it's social media or cold calling or to pick the thing, mailers, like, go at least a year. But in reality, I think the people that we all envy, or in terms of business success, and maybe other areas too, or a lot of in the entrepreneur space, those who we often envy, I feel commit forever. There's not a one
Yeah.
like they just are like, so that doesn't
Lifestyle
mean,
change.
right. That doesn't mean that, like, if you just want to be a solo agent that's productive and wants to sell 40, 50 homes, make six figures, like, it doesn't mean you need to be that person. But if you are somebody that's trying to just break financial barriers and go and just do some wicked, massive impact, it might be a thing where you just need to commit for your life and suck it up and make it work.
So I had the same exact thing, and this ties into my recommitment, right? So, I kind of had team version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and it was basically like a glorified referral system. I was too busy as a solo agent. I didn't have any systems and processes, right? I couldn't track leads to go, and I was just kind of helping people, you know, grow their businesses or if they had any questions, but there was nothing kind of like anything structured. You know what I mean? So I recommitted back in February, and I said I'm going to recommit for at least a year, and I'm going to implement. I'm going to get some coaching, exactly like I said, what to do and how to do it. Right? Got that. Implemented everything that they said. Okay, what do I need to do next? Bang. Okay, what do I need to do next? Bang. And I have like team members on the team, like, wow, this is like way different than we had it. And I'm like, just wait till you see what's coming. Right now, I'm kind of just like, like think about it as exercise, like getting the muscles going and building these habits and all that kind of stuff. But as we go and grow, it's going to be a lot more, a lot better for everybody. But like I said, head back down, no shiny objects. This is what I'm doing. Focus. I'll pick my head up in February and say, okay, well, what happened? What do I have from February last year to February of this year with the team? Does it work? Yes or no?
Well, and it's 23 units the first year I sold, and then 60 the second. The biggest thing that, like, I look back is, and I say it often, when I picked my head up at the 23, the 1 year mark roughly, I just noticed kind of like what I should keep and what I should not keep. Just took an analysis of where things were. I didn't really like detach or attach to anything. Like I didn't attach to anything. I just kind of just where we at, and I put my head right back down and went at it and recommitted to the same process. It wasn't even like and I didn't know this stuff. Like I didn't know, don't commit to the outcome, commit to I didn't know this stuff. It kind of stumbled because I was just looking for the best way forward. But that when I compare directly to agents I have coached with versus that, I think that's the big differentiator is like, I just kept the head down. But that doesn't mean, let me stay in the spirit of the show. That doesn't mean that there wasn't a week where I'm like, this is all the wrong way and I'm doing this wrong and I shouldn't have gotten to real estate. And, heck, 80% of the way through my real estate classes, I considered stopping.
Yeah. Like I said, I just did a post on this, but it's like, you would never talk to somebody the way that you talk to yourself. Like sometimes that inner voice is just such a pain in the nuts, man. It's always self-doubt, you can't do this, you should do something else. Why would you do that? That's never going to work. All that kind of stuff that we all say to ourselves. And it's like, are you on my side? You know what I mean?
And that brings me to the other point I wanted to make was like, when we're at that 30, 60, 90, whatever day mark where we start to want to quit. And it's like, what a lot of times happens is you go do something else and then it needs that one tweak. Like you might be one tweak away, one sentence away, one feeling away, one contact away, one whatever away. You know what I mean? Like one nugget. And that one tweak that you could make the world of difference. Well, and if you go down another path, it's going to need that one tweak too. So you're starting a new area where you're going to like hit that, oh, I need a tweak to get past. It's like your card entry, like your ticket to the show. Like, and so it's like, just stay in the space you're in and just find every clog in the pipe so that the water just freaking free flows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're getting after it today. I like it. I like the analogies. But no, for sure. And I think this kind of ties into you know goal setting, right? So how do you know when to recommit and stay the course or go elsewhere? I'd say like one thing that you should do is have some mile markers along the way in the journey, right? So then that way at least you could see if you're on the right path.
Yeah, well, I think this is real easy first though, because in my experience, I have seen this about 90% of the time. It's like when that self doubt starts kicking in about the plan,
Yeah.
did you actually do the exact amount of activity you said to require the last 7 days? Cool. Maybe you did. What about the last 30? What about the last 90? What about the last 365? Because I can tell you, even myself, I am guilty. I am
Yeah.
guilty. There are times where I'm like, oh man, maybe this isn't the right way to do it. I'm questioning it. And then I look back at my own activity and I'm like, 7 days, yeah, it was good. It's 30, 90. Oh, definitely not. 90 days ago, I didn't even think
Yeah.
this about the world then, you know?
Yeah.
You-
No, but like I said, just sitting back and setting a mile marker, right? Are you doing exactly what it is, or are you being a tweaker, right? So many times we're like, well, I'm doing it, but I'm doing it my way. It's like, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. There's a reason that it's proven process, right? Just follow the process. So many times we get in our own way by like, oh, well, I'm going to do that, but just not as much. Or, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to just do it a little bit with my own little flavor on it. It's like, somebody successful before you told you this is exactly what you need to do. Lose the ego, focus on just that activity, do that for a certain amount of time, pick your head up and see where you were here, right? And then where are you now? All right, right? Did we make any progress? No. Okay, let's give it another 30 days and another 30 days. Now, if you get to a 90-point mark and nothing, or 90-day mark and there's nothing moved, which I would highly doubt, right? Then you could, maybe reconsider or try different options, but at least give it 90 days before you do something. So many times we get to that 30-day mark, we look back, oh, no progress. Well, it's like, yeah, you haven't done it long enough, right? What, like with cold calling, like coaching agents on the team, I have this conversation all the time. You're not good at it yet because you haven't been bad at it long enough, right? It's like, oh, I tried it for 3 days and it didn't work, these leads suck. It's like, how about you commit?
I
And
dude, it's it that I mean that's I don't know. Anybody listening to the show, just understand, like go listen to every team leader you can find. Like go listen to every podcast they have for free. And we're gonna have this exact conversation that Jason and I are having. We all joke about these leads suck. And I don't know. I picked up the exact same leads this morning that, Google or Facebook ads. And I mean, I don't, it's all the same. Like I called 20 of them. 3 of them answered. It takes about 30 to find one that was valid. After about my 30th call, I found one that was right. It doesn't always work out that every day, but over a big set of data, it does. Like it's just,
yeah,
I mean, I got a buyer today from the calls. It's just, anyway. But one thing I really, really want to bring up, because about the recommitment, it's probably the main reason I thought this was relevant. This topic was: have you ever had the experience where you fell short of the commitments, right? And you personally just feel like a complete failure, and you want to just throw the freaking towel in, just I'm done, and just run away. And it's a lot easier to do that, right? Like so, like, have you had that experience? Let me start there.
oh god, yeah. I mean, like I said, we're all human. You try something, I struggle a lot with staying committed to working out and stuff like that. I always let myself off the hook for all the hard stuff that I know I should be doing. I'm like, oh, I'll do it later. And then the day gets ahead of me and I don't do what I wanted to do. Like the push ups, sit ups, all the kind of, all the stuff that moves the needle. But it's like, well, I did my 4-mile walk. That was good enough. It's like, I know what I need to do and I just can't do it. No. So like I said, failing and trying to recommit. Okay, well, tomorrow morning I'm going to start and get it out of the way and then recommit to it and do it for X amount of days this week. Did I hit that number or not?
it's embarrassing is what it is, right? Like
Oh,
to ourselves even, like we don't want to
yeah,
admit that we, especially, well, then take a team leader role. Like it's like not that we're like, but it's we're supposed to be the lighthouse, so we can't screw up, but like
yeah,
we do.
often.
And I've experienced it with my problem is waking up early. I'm not good at waking up early. And I tell myself in my head I'm gonna do it. And I get like I'm like, so like, what is wrong with you, Chad? That you cannot just wake up and you hit the snooze button. Like, what is your problem? And there's a lot of times where you just, you wake up late and you're like, well, this now I ruined this. Now and there's 8 hours left in the day or 7 or whatever of the work day. And you have that feeling. And I've had days where I've totally just not done anything because I was like, and that's the thing about recommitting is like it's almost like you can't talk. Like I feel it's like I can't talk about the fact that like I have to stay to the standards, stay to the expectations that like I said earlier. But then when you have the failure, you have to have the grace to just go, whatever, like erase today and just start tomorrow. Like not
Yeah,
start tomorrow, but like just like it's a new day. Like start today,
yeah,
forget what happened. It's okay. People, like, you have to have that grace. And I've seen team members, I've seen myself, and I've seen a lot of people experience the embarrassment of when they do fall off. And it's like basically what I mean is like you have to talk the talk, but at the same time, like you have to talk the tough talk, but you have to have like enough grace with yourself and with others to let them get back on the freaking horse.
yeah, for sure. And like I said, nobody's perfect, right? And giving yourself that grace is probably the hardest part because you're so strict and so tough on yourself that it's like, oh, you beat yourself up, and it's like, and then like I said, all the self talk starts blabbering in your ear, and you're just like, what am I doing, right? But like you said, it's not permanent unless you quit. Tomorrow's another day. You know, just like I was reading a book, and it's like think of it as the weather, right? Your emotions and your behavior and all that's gonna most days sunny, maybe some days a little cloudy, some days might be raining, right? But some days might be colder, whatever it is, right? But all eventually those bad days are going to pass, right? And you're going to see brighter skies, right? Are you going to focus on the clouds, or are you going to focus on the clear skies, right? There's always going to be some clouds in the sky, brother. You just have to get through them, focus on the good stuff, and keep moving forward.
100%. Yep. And I think that's the challenge though, as a, like now I come back to the roles you and I are in, and I look at it, and it's really, really hard because you have to set a standard and an expectation, because without that you're shooting blind. Like, Carrie and I on the team just set a date for something we committed to, and it's kind of arbitrary. There's really no reason for the date, but I was just talking with her this morning, and I'm like, we need that date though. She's like, oh, 100%. She's like, we need the date, because without the date, we just, so you need that, like that standard. But at the same time, you have to have like the it's hard to create the environment of pushing people, but giving them grace when they fall off and need put back on. That's a hard environment to create.
Yeah. Well, let's take a step back. If you have any kind of goal, you need to have that deadline,
Right.
or else it's just a wish, right?
Right.
So that deadline is going to force your ass to get the shit done in that time, or else you're going to procrastinate. I forget what the analogy is, but everybody keeps making fun of it. Steve on the team mentioned the Clydesdales from a previous episode that I butchered, but regardless, I digress.
If,
Right?
if they get it, it's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right. You got the freaking point. All right. But it's basically like, as much time as you give for an allotted task, you're going to take up all that time. So shorten your time frame to hit that goal quicker, right? The more time you have, the more you're going to wait to the last second to get it done, and then go from there. And then stuff gets in the way, and then you might miss your deadline. But have that deadline so you have a target date to hit.
It's a hard thing because because then it's just a constant, like it's constant. It's then you start, because I've been guilty of like, oh, let's go down and let's just make a big list and we'll get to it as we get to it. And then, I procrastinate. And then I went the other way where I'm like, just do everything as it comes in. And then you sometimes experience overwhelm. It's just,
Yeah, there's no perfect method,
no. And
Yeah.
that's the important thing I think to see here is that like, it's a mess. It's a mess. We're all a mess.
I know when I'm starting to get that overwhelmed feeling, I got to get it out of my head. So then I'll make a list of, okay, what's the most actionable item thing that I need to do right now? Write it down. Okay, what else do I need to do? Bing, bing, bing. And then I could see myself visually crossing them off the list as I get shit done. And that's been helpful for feelings of like anxiety or overwhelm or, stress, whatever you want to call it. What do I need to do right now? Get it out of your head, get it in front of you, and then tackle it.
And you really should have non-negotiables like, and sometimes health has to be a part of that. If you are business driven and it's all good and stuff, but I have a mountain of a list every day, but some days you have to go, well, I'll do it when I made a commitment to go to the gym, and you got to do that during that time. And but I mean, in the spirit of this episode, whenever you screw up and don't, you're not over. You're just one day bad or 1 week bad or like
Yeah.
whatever. Like just block it out and move on forward, get back on the horse. And it's man, this Rocky quote has come up so many times in the past 2 weeks for me and just calls and we've all seen, I mean, we should have seen it. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what to say because you got to watch. Who hasn't watched Rocky? My buddy Matt hasn't watched it. And
Matt, what?
Matt, you played with him down here and when we played that game and we watched football that day.
No Rocky? None of them? There's like 50 of them.
I know. It's a crime. He hasn't watched The Matrix, dude. Like it's a problem.
Unfriend.
I hope he listens to this. But my point, the older Rocky, where he's the older one, Rocky Balboa, where he comes back and fights again, he says, it's not about how hard you can get hit, or I'm sorry, it's not about how hard you can hit. I screwed up every time. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And yeah, it's a movie quote, but man, is that the truth of life? Like, because we're all getting smacked. Like we can live in our world where the circumstances are hard, but it's not about that. It's not about punching really, really hard. It's about just getting smacked but keep coming at it. Like that's the mentality here. Like that's the goal. Like it's just like no matter what's thrown our way, we're going to attack it. We're not going to sit there and live in that space.
No, for sure. And like you said, it's for everybody, right? And everybody as an agent, as a team lead or whatever, we're all getting punched and smacked with, okay, market conditions, interest rates, difficult buyers, difficult sellers, lead sources, commitments to yourself, commitments to your health, wealth, all that kind of stuff, family commitments. There's a lot going on. You got to give yourself
commitments.
Yeah. I mean, here's a little hack that you could do for actionable way, right? Get like a calendar planner that has it where it's written out, right? So you have the whole calendar, just like your Google Calendar, or print it. I think you print your calendar now. But okay, what do I need to do for? Yep. But I mean for the whole month, right?
No.
Now, can I finish my story, please?
Oh, I know. Well, you said me. I'm telling them what I do. I print my day out and finish.
I like it. So print out the whole month, right? And then what activity do you want to focus on for that month, right? And then anytime that you hit it, put an X over it, right? I did it for the day, right? So you have a visual representation of your progress during that month, right? So say it's like an agent, right? I want to prospect for an hour and follow up for an hour a day and do whatever, right? Did I do it that day? X. Perfect, right? And then as you see that chart, you're going to want to keep putting more and more X's on there, right? You're going to have a day that it's blank for sure. But then you could say recommit, like we're talking about, and start your chain of X's again, right? And then pick your head up at the end of the month. How many times did I do it? How many times did I not? Okay. And then, okay, if I didn't do it as much as I should, what do I need to do to get myself to that habit?
I love it. I think it's really, really good. And my addition to that, or just to recommitment subject, and I said it already, but I want to just encourage it, is like have selective memory. Just forget that you screwed up. Like seriously, because if you don't and you just stay in that space and it's cancerous and it's like a quicksand that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
You've just got to have selective memory with it. I mean, anybody that watches me probably knows how, or our team, my team, and any of the sessions I've been in, I'm pretty intense, and I say a lot about the things I've done, but that's because I've got selective memory about all the times I've fallen off the wheel. You know what I mean? But
it's like the social media thing. Everybody only sees your highlight reel, not the times that you're like crawled up in a ball, like wishing you did something else because you're
every night at 1 a.m.
Yeah, I'll stressed out for all the shit that you have to get done, and it's like, yeah, everybody sees. Oh yeah, you just closed on that house. Good job, Chad.
My other tip is if you do need to process it, I mean, I don't want to act like you should just totally block it out. If you do need to process what you went, the drop off or the doubts or the whatever, my opinion is process them like kind of after hours. Like for me, that means after 9, but maybe it's after, like stay in the box when you're there, reflect when you have time to reflect. Like, whether like for me, like it's in the shower or we have a hot tub by the pool, like go for a walk. Those are times where you can kind of process it in a better space where you're not going, oh crap, but I'm not doing this thing right now, on top of the fact that I failed or I'm having doubts. So it's like, give yourself a space for that too. And for me, it's always, like after 9 p.m., 9 to 12 is where all of the doubts and failures come into mind for
me. All the tears. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think sometimes just unplugging too. Give yourself some grace and just, put the phone down, dude. Like a lot of times at night at like 8 o'clock, I'll put the phone on the charger and I'm not picking it up or looking at it till the next day, right? Just get yourself away from that stuff, right? And then, like I said, use that time to kind of, do some self-evaluation, right? Having that self-awareness, right? What worked, right? Give yourself some wins. What didn't work? Okay, that's lessons to learn from, right? And then, like you said, okay, what could I do better next time? All right, self-improvement a little bit every single day.
So John's Cheplak's feedback loop is really, really good, but I think it actually makes sense here. His feedback loop is what should we keep doing, what should we start doing, and what should we stop doing? But really, with yourself, it's the same game. And really, I'd say go look back at your last 90 days. Hopefully look at it relative to your previous 90. Is there more? You always want to be aiming upwards. Is there more going on than there was before? Cool. Then chill about the stuff where you fell off.
Yeah.
And then look at that 90-day period and go, what do I need to keep doing? What do I need to start doing that I'm not doing currently? Maybe getting up earlier, time blocking better, honoring your calendar. And what do you need to stop doing? Like eating the Cheetos. I don't know.
Those Zest or Quest protein chips. Turn me on to those suckers. Yeah, they're freaking awesome. Yeah,
you're eating them now, huh?
Yeah, that's I went from other stuff that I shouldn't be into those, so I don't know if it's a good trade-off or not.
It's a good trade-off.
Yeah. So, well, let's wrap it up with this. Right, we're committed to helping anybody we can, any which way, right? If anybody would like some help with anything, just hit us up. We got the SharkNation site down below. We have our monthly mastermind where we help connect with other agents to help them grow their business. We got Chad following the tracker. I like it. We got the Facebook group. Ask any questions in there. And go ahead, give the peeps a last word of wisdom for today.
The last word of wisdom. There's so much pressure on that. Yeah.
I always do that to you.
I know you do. You put me on the pressure cooker on this show. I love it. That's why I like it. No, I mean, if you think the person, we all watch somebody. If you think the person that you're watching has never had to recommit, like you're just seeing the highlight reel. It's just not the case. We're all mess under the hood.
Yeah.
And that's okay as long as you stay in the game. Don't throw in the towel and run away and be that person. Stay in the game. No leader, no person you're around. And if they do have a problem with it, like hit me up, because that's ridiculous. Should have a problem if you come back and say, you know what, I screwed up. I want to recommit today. Forget yesterday. I'm here to recommit today.
Yeah. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Everybody's just trying to figure it out as you go along. do the best you can. Give yourself some grace when you might not be at your best. Some days you just need a day off. Start tomorrow fresh. You know, take the day off if you need a day off. Your body tells you when and when not to go, right? So listen to yourself.
That's it. Well, thanks, man. It was good stuff. We'll see you back here next week.
44, good number. Wink, wink.
There we go. And to everybody else, just recommit.